Welcome to the new version of Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast, the podcast for real estate agents everywhere. I'm Lisa B, and together with Bjorn Kunzel, we're going to talk about everything real estate. We talk about what's working, what's not working, what's new, what's old, technology, and anything else to do with real estate. We'll answer your questions from the Facebook group Let's Talk About Real Estate. So if you have a question, we can help. Join the Facebook group today. And again, welcome to the show. Okay, Bjorn, today's topic on our podcast is 11 steps to becoming a successful real estate agent.
Loving this one, Lisa. Loving it. Fantastic. For any new agents that are watching this, any agents that have just started out in real estate, or anybody who's even thinking about becoming a real estate agent. So this should be a good one.
Absolutely. All right. So first tip, do work experience and see if you like it. So see what the job really entails. Join Facebook groups like Let's Talk About Real Estate. Talk to other real estate agents, find the right office and the right systems, and find what resonates with you.
Well, this is just really research, isn't it, Lisa? Like before you get into anything or you get involved in anything, you go out and you do your research, you do your homework. So real estate isn't for everybody. A lot of people, what they think real estate is, they get involved in real estate and they realize, wow, this is completely different. A lot of people think that it's like being in a car yard, for example, when you've got a car yard full of stock, and all you have to do is find buyers for that stock, where it's the complete opposite. It's basically trying to find the cars to fill the car yard with. And the stock sort of sells itself. So work experience is definitely a big one. Getting involved with the right business, right company, right organization that's going to give you the right training and support as a younger agent is extremely important as well. I've seen several careers being made or broken based on the wrong choice of a new agent as to where they position themselves. So yeah. And then systems are very important also, because once you get the foundation right, everything else flows from there. So do your homework, guys.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like retail, people in retail are very surprised. You know, they can sell when they're in a shop and all that sort of thing, but you've actually got to find your stock. And that's a really good point. And I think too, like, you know, having different salespeople come in and, you know, sort of trials in real estate offices, and then they go to pick up the phone and they think, I can't do this. I just can't do it, you know? So you've got to actually go out and prospect and all that sort of thing, which we'll talk about later. So you've got to actually know what the job entails. It's probably not what you think. And the other thing is the rejection and all of that. So you're talking to other agents and seeing how they feel, so you can get an idea of what it's really like.
Yeah, if you're the kind of person that expects things to be easy, and that by simply following a procedure it's all going to happen, you're in for a bit of a shock. Real estate's a very hard slog for the first couple of years. So you've got to be prepared to put in the hard work early, because after that it does become a lot easier.
I mean, it's a great career. It's a great industry to be in, but you just got to know what you're getting yourself in for too. And I think also too, you know, finding the right office and the right systems, you know, what resonates with you. If you love auctions, then find an auction office. If you don't love auctions, then find an office that doesn't do auctions. And, you know, you've got to find what really, you know, sits with you and how you like to do things as well. I think that's really important.
There's a lot of turnover in real estate. By that I mean a lot of agents don't get past their first 12 months, and I think it's about 70% that won't even make it past the first 2 years. But if you've made it for 3 years in real estate and you've survived, and you're starting to thrive, the rest of the career will become a breeze. So
a lot easier.
It's a great long term. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Okay. Selling cars could be a sprint, but I don't think selling houses is. So just be prepared for that, and just understand that it's a commitment, and it's very rewarding.
It's a career. Yeah,
it's an outstanding career, but very rewarding, but it comes with a lot of effort.
Absolutely. Okay, tip 2, research and obtain the necessary licenses, certificates, and qualifications, depending on what you want to do and where, and understand the law. That is such a massive thing. You've got to understand the law and what you can do where you are. And I think that's a massive thing, that, you know, that they can get the certifications and all that sort of stuff, but they've actually got to know what they're telling people is the right thing. You know, for example, 100%. I know that there was an agent that was telling people that vendors had a cooling off period and things like that. Like, it's a recipe for disaster. You know, you really need to know what you're doing. So Yeah. So
Definitely. I mean, there's different types of licensing, and around the country, the licenses change. For example, I'm a licensed real estate agent here in South Australia. I cannot go into New South Wales or Queensland or any other state or territory in Australia and sell real estate as a representing real estate agent because I don't have the necessary licenses. Now, in some cases, it can be easy to get those licenses if you already have an existing license for an existing state. However, there's different types of licensing. For example, up until recently in South Australia, you did not need to be a licensed property manager. You could just be anybody off the street who came in and the boss said, look, this is how we do our property management, and you could go about your business. Now that's changed, and they do require property managers now to have education, experience, and some licensing behind them. And there's also a land sales representative where you can represent underneath somebody else's license, which we call an RLA here in South Australia. And then there's also, if you do your diploma, then you can get your own RLA, in which case you can be a fully functioning office of your own, basically. So do your research. I would say to anybody that's doing it, I didn't do it this way. I did just the basic course. But I would say to anybody that's getting involved in it, while you're studying and doing it, you may as well do the whole thing. Just do the whole lot.
Get your license.
Get your license, get your full license so that you can open your own office on your own if you wanted to tomorrow. I wouldn't recommend you to do that if you've never done real estate, but I would definitely recommend you to get all your licensing in place.
Agree.
And the law, that's such an important one, because if you do one thing wrong, and
massive
even
lawsuit.
Well, you could be, that could be the end of you. And not only the end of you, you could get sued for that as well. So be very careful with what you say. If you don't understand the law, say to somebody, look, not 100% on that. I'll get back to you. And cool. The Real Estate Institute of South Australia, Western Australia, Queensland, we've all got our licensing governing bodies, which are there for consumers to pick up the phone and ask questions, and also for agents to pick up the phone and ask questions as well.
And I think that's a really good point too. No matter what you do, it's always, double check with the solicitor, but this, double check with counsel, but this, always just cover yourself for what you say to people, because you don't want a lawsuit. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. So apply for jobs or start your own business. So different states, countries obviously have different requirements. So again, if you've done the first two bits and you like it, you like what you see, then start to, apply for jobs or look at starting your own business.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It really took me 13 years before I started my own business. Would I have come out and wished that I'd started my own business straight away? You know what? I probably wouldn't be in real estate still if I had, because there was a lot of learning that went through the process of starting to that sort of first 3 years before I felt comfortable as an agent. So if you are going to start your own business, I would suggest that you've got other agents around you within that business that actually know what they're doing and are already transacting. Because it could be something that makes you or breaks you. And I don't think starting from scratch and starting your own business straight away is necessarily always the right way to go, because a lot comes from an office with training and support and things like this.
I actually opened my own office, very soon after I started. It was like, I think a year after or something in real estate. But, I kind of made sure that I had support and all of that sort of thing. And so so that
you need at least 12 months. Like you can't just come straight out of college with not selling any property and then jump the next day straight into running your own business, unless it's a business which is some of these cloud-based models out there which offer you all of the support which you need. But otherwise, I think you really need to surround yourself with other agents that have done the job. But how did you find that Lisa, after?
I loved it. It was like, do you want to buy the office after 12 months? I was in my 20s. I was like, yeah, why not? Like what's the worst thing that can happen? So to me, it was like I had to succeed. It was like I worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to succeed. There was no way I was going to fail. So, it depends on your level of commitment. Yeah.
That's a great achievement for somebody who's 20 years old to have their own office.
In my 20s, not 20, in my 20s. I think I was like 25 or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a quote which I love and I live by. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right either way.
Absolutely.
If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right either way. Because one thing that I do know about real estate is it's 95% mindset up here.
Big time. I remember somebody said to me, well, at least you can say you tried. And that was like, and that was somebody really close to me that I thought believed in me. And I was like, wow, they thought I was going to fail. So people saying things like that actually made me succeed. You know, it was like, wow, I can't believe you just said that to me.
You know what?
But,
You should thank them, Lisa, because
oh yeah, no, definitely.
sometimes you need that. When somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm like, oh boy, I didn't really want to do it, but now I have to prove you wrong. I have
Exactly.
to. Especially when
it's someone close to you. It's like,
yeah,
wow,
definitely.
okay, I'm definitely doing it now. Okay.
Oh, cool. Well, well done for doing it, Lisa, and congratulations for doing it.
It was good.
Well
it was
done.
exciting.
Well
All right. So the next thing, create or find templates for everything that you need. So listing kits, flyers, prospecting letters, prepare and plan for everything you need. So that's talking to agents, you know, researching what other agents do, looking at systems and things like that. Make sure you've got the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle.
Well, if you're joining a brand that's been established for a while, whether it's an independent, a franchise, whatever it may be, or even some of these new cloud-based companies which are available in Australia today as well, no matter who you're with, they will all have templates for the basics of what you require. You can change things to your personality, but, you know, things like your pre-listing kit, your brochures, your flyers, your signboards, your sign pointers, you know, all of that marketing material, which is really, it's like a tradesman. You've got to have a toolbox. All right. Now, we don't have spanners and wrenches and screwdrivers in our toolbox, but this is our toolbox. And the CRM is our toolbox. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having a catalog of, okay, marketing material for future sellers, marketing material for current buyers, marketing material for people that are potentially moving in the future, marketing material for developers, marketing material for investors, and then knowing how to distribute that material as well is very important if you want to get yourself known, because as we all know, part of real estate and being successful is letting people know that you sell real estate, and that's what you do.
Exactly. So, and it doesn't happen overnight. Like, it's things where you'll learn as you go, like get the basics and then you add bits and pieces, and before you know it, you've got the systems. So and that leads us to our next one. So work out the systems. So have checklists, streamline or procedures, you know, your pre-listing kit, post-listing kit, whatever it is, you know, post-listing stuff, follow up. Systemize as much as you can. And one of the books that I read was The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which that was one of the best books that I read. That was all about systemizing, and that changed my office and my thinking so much. It was like, you know, it's you got to put the systems in, then people run the systems, and it's so much easier. So yeah, that's definitely.
It's nothing like, similar to a factory. You know, there's a production line, there's a step of everything along the way to produce that product in a factory. It's the same thing with real estate. Our result is to deliver a client with a successful sold result, and a purchaser with the joy of purchasing their new home. Now, there's certain procedures that need to go along the way, and you know, it took me a long time to develop the systems that I have in place. Now, some systems nowadays are all on the computer, so you just click boxes, check boxes, tasks, and things like this. Some people prefer to run notes and pad and paper. I still write out a to-do list every single morning of everything that I need to do for that day. And my office is surrounded by whiteboards, and there's whiteboards with upcoming properties, whiteboards with sold properties, and there's another whiteboard which has all my listings on it, and there's all these little tick columns for, is the property an agent box, has the just listed been ordered, has the signboard gone up, has the property gone online, photos ordered, all these sorts of things. So I can just turn around and go, oh yeah, that's done. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how you do it. You've just got to have some sort of system that resonates with you, whether it's pen and paper, online, chalkboards, whiteboards, whatever. Just make sure that you keep track, because there's a lot going on in real estate. Unless you have those systems in place, you can find yourself very confused very fast.
It's like a pilot. A pilot has a checklist, you know, when they start the plane, and they've done it a lot. You know, it just it makes sure that you don't miss out on little things, but it also makes sure you keep it as well. Like, if you've got a system that works, otherwise things drop off. You start to go, oh, you forget to do that. Then all of a sudden you think, oh man, I used to do that. And why don't I do that anymore?
The biggest one is, I feel, systems for follow-up. All right.
Yes.
So especially if you're a new agent prospecting, you know, list and last, list and last. All right. If you don't list properties, you're not going to last. You can help other people sell their properties in the office all you like, but unless you're listing properties, you're not going to last. So you need to have a checklist for following up prospects. Yes. So you need to have warm, hot, cold, have categories for your prospects, for people that have engage with you in real estate in one way, shape or form, and then, you know, have different systems in place. So for example, if I know that you're selling in the next week, Lisa, my communication levels with you are going to be huge.
Yes.
If I know that you're just after an appraisal and you're not doing anything for at least 12 months because it's, you know, when the kids finish school or whatever it might be, that might be, you know, I'm just going to send you a weekly email, Lisa, just to show you how I network to my buyers and assume that you're a buyer. So you'd be on this if you decide to come on board with me. And then every 3 months, we'll just check in and just give you an update on what's happening in the market. So it's going to be a lot slower, a lot calmer.
Yes. Yes.
Now, if you get it the wrong way around and you're somebody who's selling in a week and I take the whole 3 month to 6 month approach, somebody else is going to come along and snap them up.
Absolutely.
Right place, right time has got a lot to do with real estate.
Yes,
you know?
big time.
So yeah, very important to have good systems. Systems are
Follow-ups. Yeah, big time. All right, so the next thing, build your database. So put every single person you know into your database, and the Americans call this your sphere of influence. Love them or hate them, put them into your database. Keep including people as you meet them, and always be adding to your database.
100%. This is really critical. I've spoken to agents recently, and they're like, look, I've been in real estate for 11 years, but one thing I didn't run a database. And in all respect to those agents, they're struggling right now.
Yeah, big time.
They've got sheets and sheets of paper with names and numbers of potentials. And I said to this particular agent, the first thing that you want to do, your priority should be just to stop right now, go and hire somebody from overseas or whatever, scan and email all of that information, make sure they're fluent in the database, the CRM, which you're using. So for example, AgentBox, My Desktop, Rex, whatever, whichever one you're using, and get that information in there. Because the one thing that I do, Lisa, religiously, which I've always done in my career, is every single week, every single person in my email, every single person in my database gets an email through Active Pipe, and it has a short little video, which is usually a testimonial or something in there. And then it has off-market opportunities, and it has other property opportunities. And then just, would you like to get a free appraisal? Would you like to know what your home's worth? Now, this week alone, if I look at my board, I've listed 5 properties this week. And 3 of those properties have been, we've been receiving your emails for years. Awesome. That's it. We've been receiving your email for years, and we called you. You know, you've been keeping in touch. You've been giving us the odd 3-month checkup. You're the only one that has. And that's business. That's 3 listings just from having a database in 1 week.
Exactly.
Right. So of the 70 odd homes that I'll sell a year, I'll find now I'm at a point where it's a referral-based business, and it's a referral-based business because I look after people by putting them into my database for starters, and then promoting that.
It's a referral business, but it's also a follow-up business.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's a referral business based on the database. Without the database, this referral business would not exist.
Exactly.
So databasing is really, really
so
critical.
You're keeping in contact with people. It's such a massive, massive thing. You know, otherwise they forget you. How many times does an agent sell a property to somebody, and then the buyers or the sellers, when they go to sell again, they forget who they actually bought through or sold through? Like, you know, they just, people don't remember the agents.
This is critical because everybody who purchases a property from me then gets switched over into the system as being the current vendor. And then they also go in as a prospective vendor.
Yes.
When you're doing your database, make sure you get your categories right. Have categories for the suburbs that you work in. Have categories for regions like Northeast, East, Southwest. Have categories for potential seller. Yeah. Right, which is prospective vendor, buyer, current buyer, past buyer, past vendor. All right, because once you've got these categories set, for example, past vendor, you send out a group email or a group communication. Hey, Lisa, it's Bjorn here. Hope you're going well. You know, I know that we helped you a little while ago. I'm looking for some more people that might be looking at selling. Do you have any friends or family that you could maybe refer me to? By the way, I'm offering a $500 referral fee for anybody that successfully sells with me. Do you know anyone? Now, that's one way that you can prospect to get referrals from people that already know you, that you've already done a good job for them. I go, actually, hold on a minute. You know, prospective vendor. Hi, you thinking about selling this month? We have this particular, but you don't want to mumble jumbo everybody in the same basket.
No, it's got to be specific.
You want to be specific. So don't just chuck them in your database and that's it. Put them into categories in your database. Have suburb categories, and whether they're a buyer, seller, past seller, or past buyer, that's crucial, I believe. Because then you can start to target that database properly and communicate with each of those particular sections accordingly, so they're receiving relevant information that's relevant to them and their needs.
That's right.
So,
and some states you aren't allowed to offer incentives for sellers, and some you can. Queensland you can, South Australia you can, New South Wales you can't. Some areas you can't. So check whether you can.
That comes down to law again, guys.
So exactly. Know what you're allowed to do.
My law says I can, your law may not say you can.
Exactly. I know when I moved to Queensland, I'm like, man, oh, okay, they're allowed to, because, you know, they've got it like on their shop windows and everything up here. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway. Okay, so know the local area. So roads, schools, shopping centres, properties for sale, properties sold. So become the expert in your area. You know, you don't want to go out and the sellers know more than you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, research. Yeah.
You can come undone with this very, very fast. If people say to you, yeah, but what about the other 3 properties that are on the market, and mine's got this and that one's got, and you don't know what you're talking about, you better know how to psychologically change that conversation very fast, because otherwise you're going to see yourself in a world of
you'd have to be like a politician. Oh, come back to that in a minute, and then talk about something else and hope they don't come back to it or something. I don't know what you do. You just need to know your stock. Yeah, you need to know the area. Yeah.
It's powerful because, you know, for example, in my area, somebody goes, oh, I'm at 33 Wandana Avenue. Okay, so you're in Port Adelaide Enfield Council. You're on the other side to where the school is, further down towards Office Works. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because the other side of your road, which is all the even numbers, that's actually Tea Tree Gully Council, because Wandana Avenue splits the 2 councils in half. People go, oh, I didn't even know that sometimes. These little things showing that you're an expert, that you know your area. And this is crucial to know everything that you need to know.
You can, and it comes with time too, but you've got the advantage. If you're going to do a market appraisal, you can do all that research, you know, around that property. You don't need to know the whole area at this point in time, but if you're going to an appraisal, make sure you know where, you know, make sure you know that area. Do your research, prepare. Yeah.
15 minutes on Google, guys, 15 minutes on realestate.com and domain. It's not that hard. Know your stuff. Know your stuff.
Exactly. All right. So the next one, organize your days that you're doing one of 3 things. So you're working in your business or working on your business. So the first one is prospecting, always looking for new business. The second one, follow up. So that's working in your business as well. So keeping in contact with buyers and sellers, creating deals or getting deals together. Then the third one is working on your business, which is marketing. So, you know, we've got to be mindful. If you're always working in your business, then you're not doing the marketing to get more business coming in. So you've got to have that balance.
Of course. You can't spend, 99% of your time prospecting, okay? As much as some trainers might tell you to do that, you've got to look after the people you've got. The biggest mistake I find that agents make is they get in this zone of just trying to find new business all the time.
Lead generation.
That's good and proper. You do need that, okay? I'm not saying you don't need that. But you've got clients there that have just signed up with you, that have enlisted with you, that have trusted you. Give them the time of day, because they are going to be your biggest marketing tool once they're happy with the job. Or they're going to be, if you do the right thing by somebody and they go out there and tell maybe 2 or 3 people, if you do the wrong thing by somebody, they'll ring their auntie in bloody Afghanistan or freaking India or China or wherever and say, hey, how you going? By the way, we just sold our house with this guy in girl who was absolutely useless. So you've got to be careful about this. You need to make sure that you're prospecting probably a third of your time. You're nurturing your existing clients a third of your time. And then you're trying to improve your entire business another third of
working on your business.
33.3% spread it over the 3,
And we've spoken about this before, but like people are always going, I want lead generation, and they've got a database, agents that are keeping a database, and they're not prospecting, or they're not taking care of the people they've got in their database. They've spent all this money and time and effort to put these people into their database, and they're not following them up. They're not keeping in contact, doing emails. They're not giving them a ring and seeing how they're going, or, all of that sort of stuff. You've got to make sure, if you've already got people in your database, take care of them as well. I'd be setting that up before I did lead generation,
Yeah. This is the biggest thing. It's like, your companies out there, your Foxtel, your Netflix, whatever, all these new companies, even the banks, right? Come and join us. We'll give you an incentive. Come and join us. We'll give you an incentive. Join Foxtel. Well, hold on, I've been with you guys for 10 freaking years. Where's my 10-year loyalty? Where's my congratulations? We're giving you the next 6 months free because you've been with us for 10 years.
Yeah.
They don't do it, right?
Yeah.
It's like this. I want to get a dinner party going, Lisa. What's the easiest way for me to get a dinner party? Is it to call my friends and family and say, hey, do you want to come out for dinner? Hey, Lisa, you want to come out for dinner? Or is it to just pick up the phone and dial numbers at random and ask people if they want to meet me at a pub for dinner?
Yeah.
Because basically, that's your cold prospecting. And that's a lot of agents focus on just picking up the phone and trying to date random people, right?
Yeah.
Date the people that are already in your database that know who you are, the people that you've got some sort of connection with. Spend majority of your time on them. If you've got a database, nurture that and work on that. And then the cold stuff will come afterwards. The cold stuff is required to keep filling the pipeline. So then the cold people become warm people that warm to you and know who you are. But don't go out there just trying to win over strangers every day of the week when you've got people that already know who you are.
Exactly. If you've already got it, then take the easier option, you know, the one that you've already spent time and effort and money creating, and they know you, they're warm. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing, be proactive in the listing sales process. So listen to what the sellers and buyers are saying and listen to what they're not saying, right? That's a big one. Communicate, do what needs to be done to help them. And our vendor pays us. We always work for the vendor. And that's, you know, different states and countries are different, you know, with who's paying who, whatever. But yeah, we need to communicate and be proactive in the sales process. That's what they're paying us for. We're problem solvers.
Definitely. I'm going to say one thing about this, Lisa. Listing appointments are for listening. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Now, I know I can talk a lot, but when I'm in a listing, you'll see a completely different Bjorn. It's asking questions and listening for 5 minutes. Asking a question, listening for another 5 minutes. What do you want to achieve? Listening. When do you want to achieve that? Taking notes, listening.
Yes.
Because if they do the majority of the talking at the listing presentation, right, people like to talk about themselves, you've got more of a chance of winning that listing. And all you need to do is find out the who, what, when, where, why, show them how. And if you listen more than you talk, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So don't
because
over talk.
If you don't talk, if you don't ask questions, then you can't overcome objections. You can't solve problems. You can't help them. If you're doing all the talking, you can't possibly help somebody fulfill their, you know, what they want from you. You just can't do it. You can't satisfy somebody's, you know, wants and needs and everything if you don't know what they want.
Exactly. I took some training from Michael Gerber in the past, and his training isn't coming from a real estate background or coming from a real estate coaching background or somebody who's had their office or anything like that. His training is, I'm a consumer. This is what I would want as a consumer, and I'm going to teach you as an agent from a consumer's point of view.
Okay.
And the first thing that he taught me was the first and foremost thing to do is to sit down, take charge, put your briefcase or your notepad down somewhere. And then before you do the tour of the house, right, they go, do you want to have a look around? Look, do you mind if we just have a sit down and have a quick chat for a second? And then just ask them a few questions. So why have you invited me out here today? What is it that you'd like from me today? What would you like me to go through today? Because I don't want to bore you with everything. If you're just after a quick checkup and a price, I don't want to be here for an hour and a half boring you. But if you are seriously thinking about selling, then I want to make sure you understand the entire process, making sure that you're meeting their needs, and then asking the questions, making the connection, building the rapport, finding out what their objectives are, what their goals are, and then doing the tour of the house. And that has been an absolute game changer for me. So sit down with the people, build some rapport, ask what they want.
Absolutely.
What can you do for them?
Absolutely. Then the next point is knowing people's motivation, know their why, know their deadlines. So that's exactly what you just said. So just knowing the person and how you can help them.
You've got to understand that everybody is moving for a reason. Okay. And we solve people's problems. Now, whether that's they're upsizing, they're downsizing, their kids are changing schools, the kids have just been accepted into the school, the kids have grown up, there's a divorce going on, somebody's passed away, unfortunately.
Always stressful. Yeah.
And it's all different. So a property, when you go through the property process, it can be very different for one person to the next person. So you've got to find out what their reason why is. And then once you understand the reason why they're doing what they want to do, then you can start to come up with a solution on how you can help them achieve their why and help them achieve their goal. And that's how you get the business. Absolutely. By genuinely caring about them and wanting to help them as a client. It's not about you as a real estate agent. There's too many real estate agents with too many big egos that make it all about them. The client does not give a rat's about you. The client does not give a rat's about me, in all due respect. They want somebody who's going to do what they want and guide them along the way.
Exactly.
So
okay. Absolutely. And then the next one's always be training. Like Brian Tracy, when I started in real estate, it was, he said, make your car your university. And that was something that I always did, was always had, you know, good stuff going in the ears and then good stuff comes out. You know, it's like always be training, always be improving your skills. And it's like you said, the toolbox, you're always got to be sharpening your tools. And, you know, as you said too, our job is mostly psychological. So it's, you know, you've got to be having good things going in your mind, and, you know, it's the psychology and it's the long game, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's got iPhones now or smartphones, and everybody can plug them in, connect them to their car. I'll very rarely listen to music in the car unless I'm going on a holiday with the family or something like that, because I'm not going to bore them with this stuff. But otherwise, I'll just YouTube and I'll go real estate tips, real estate training, how to deal with difficult vendors, handling a buyer who keeps changing their mind, and just Google all these things on YouTube, and you'll be surprised. There are probably hundreds of thousands of hours of free material from people like Tom Ferry. You got Grant Cardone, you know, the trainers, all the trainers from Australia here, the Michael Sheargolds, you know, the Tom Pannisses, the Glenn Twiddles, the Lisa B's. I'm sure all your stuff's out there on YouTube. Listen to it. Just listen to it. Always, the moment that you think you know everything is the moment that your business dies. You're either growing or you're dying, right? And growing means taking on new things on board. I still learn things every single day. We've actually got a lunch training today with the guys in the team. So we're all going out for lunch, and we're just going to talk about our wins and our losses, anything we're having struggles with, and we're just going to collaborate together to come up with some solutions just amongst ourselves. Awesome. You know, you should always be looking to gain knowledge in all areas of life.
Absolutely. And people can join Let's Talk About Real Estate group on Facebook, and also I've got my real estate training community as well, which is a training platform as well. There was somebody that I listened to the other day, I think it was Rory Sutherland. He's in the UK. I posted a link in our group, and he talks all about marketing and everything. He was really good. I really like him. Like, he talks a lot, but I really like him talking about marketing and all of that sort of thing. So it's amazing the people that you find just on YouTube, and then it leads to another video. And I started watching, I was like, oh, actually, I really resonate with this guy. So it's amazing what you can pick up just, you know,
Well, I've been doing this for 14 years now, Lisa, and one of the guys in my team, Chris Jansen, lovely bloke, top bloke, it's become one of my best mates. The amount that I've learned from Chris in the past 12 months is just, it's an entire training course. It's mind-boggling, right? But then he'll tell you that he's learned so many new tips and things from myself. So always be training, but always be sharing as well. Sharing is caring. Right. Share with your fellow colleagues.
Exactly.
We're all in this together.
Absolutely. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, not really. I think it's been a good week so far. Things are going well in my world, and anybody that's watching this that is a brand new agent, I wish them much success. And just remember, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right either way. Exactly. And I'll end on that quote. Yeah,
that's it. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Bjorn. See you next
Lisa.
week.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a question about real estate, then please join the group on Facebook, also called Let's Talk About Real Estate. For those of you who are interested in EXP, please join us at 10 a.m. Brisbane time every Wednesday morning for EXP Explained. Thank you again for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and see you next week.